Welcome to Rubber Chicken with a podcast in the middle. I'm Alistair.
I'm Gordon Lafoot.
And today we're talking about Part 4 of Curse of Monkey Island. The bartender, the thieves, his aunt, and her lover.
In that order. Let's discuss it in
But
that
before
order.
we begin, let's have a quick history quiz.
I see what you did there. Monkey Island Monday this week.
Yeah! Your friend and mine, Dave Grossman, posted a new little video
Fresh content.
from Return to Monkey Island.
Yep.
Of Guybrush and the pirate leaders from Secret of Monkey Island inhaling gas from blowfishes and burping.
Yeah. Or blowing up a blowfish, but yeah, I assume.
Yeah, inflating and then maybe inhaling.
Yeah.
That was the whole thing.
That was the thing, yeah. It looked like a little gag. It's clearly some kind of challenge, I suppose. To achieve.
Yeah, who knows? It may be they challenge you to do something. I don't know. It looked like they're all doing it together. Which is kind of funny. It's kind of funny to see Guybrush just hanging around with the three important-looking pirates from Secret. They're very distinctively, especially the guy in the green jacket, who in this seems to be behind a counter. The face is like,
Facially
dead on.
Yeah.
Despite the art style difference, very, very recognizable. As soon as I saw him, I was like, oh.
The blue guy's all about the beard. The black beard.
Yeah, the blue guy's the beard, but the green guy, he has that slightly haggard-looking face, and you can just tell the instant I looked at him, I was like, oh, it's one of the important-looking pirates from Secret.
Yeah. It's probably not unlike having a poker competition with some ruthless smugglers. That sort of puzzle, one would assume.
Probably not unlike that at all.
You see what I'm tying that in?
I can see what you're doing there.
Yeah. Like being tied to a mast.
One quick question. Do we think this is in the shop? The Melee Island store?
So this is...
Based on the layout of the door and the windows.
You're basing this on something that famed monkeyologist Marius Winter said.
Yes.
On
Mix and Mojo Forum.
No, I don't think so. But I
Okay.
realised that in the coming months I might have to retract that. But surely if they were going to do that, they'd still keep that kind of background architecture with the staircase and stuff.
Yeah, well, you would think so, right? It was pointed out as well that in Secret, the interior layout of the shop doesn't actually match the exterior of the shop at all.
No.
The door and the windows don't match up, so it would make... If it is the interior of the shop now, it actually makes more sense than it did in Secret, but
My theory,
that could mean nothing.
my theory would be that it's the rubber chicken with the pulley in the middle shop.
I think it's the Voodoo Ladies shop.
No, you know, across the street, there's the rubber chicken with the rubber chicken with the pulley in the middle shop.
Oh, it actually says that on the thing. Yeah, right. Yeah, well, we haven't seen
that street.
We haven't seen what's
Street.
called Low Street in Melee Town.
Street.
We haven't seen that yet.
No.
So,
Is that layout
Could be.
going to be the same? I think so,
Yeah.
probably.
yeah,
Yeah, that's all there is to it.
that was
That's
all.
good to find
People
out.
were like, "Oh, we're going to get the release date or something." No, you're not getting the release date.
I'm not
You're
that
gonna wait.
concerned about the release date.
Me either. People always forget the anticipation
It's the best part.
is often better than the actual experience. It's like savor this feeling of
Exactly.
waiting for a new Monkey Island while you can.
Yeah.
Because who knows how long it's going to be after this
It's
one.
going to be another 15 years until the next one.
Maybe forever.
Oh, don't say
maybe.
that.
Maybe forever.
Until special edition of Curse comes out.
It'll be the one that's made in 20 years' time, that's written and developed and designed by Dominic Armato.
Like the
When everyone else is gone, all the original guys.
It's like
are
the
gone.
Star Trek 5 being written.
Yeah. It's like the cast starts taking over the
yeah.
development
Yeah.
of the thing because no one else wants to do it.
I reckon Dom could do a good job.
You could give it a go.
Give it a go, Dom. I know you're listening to this, you fiend. Alright, that's the news. Shall we get into talking about the Curse of Monkey Island?
Part 4. The Bartender, the Thieves, his aunt and her lover.
Okay, so how are we going to do this? let's just go from... We're coming into this from 3 sheets to the wind,
Yeah.
which is a rehash of the insult sword fighting kind of thing, combined with some ship combat that's possibly a little bit pointless and just game lengthening.
Yeah. But we'll get to that in a separate episode.
We'll get to that. We've got a big sexy cutscene leading into
there's
part
nice pre-rendered visuals of the ship sailing over the stormy sea.
Yeah, and a bit of panic. There's a bit of energy to it.
Yeah.
There's a bit of comedy. I'm barely holding on myself, mate.
Yep, Haggis struggling to keep his kilt from flapping up.
Yeah, and then we see the waves crashing, and here comes Blood Island.
Yeah.
Over the horizon. Yeah, I hope I can sing that up in post.
I remember being a kid and thinking, part 4, but part 4 is the last part of a Monkey Island game. How can this still seem like it's just the middle of the story?
Exactly. Well, here's the thing.
How's this all going to wrap up?
This is very much like the second act, right?
Yeah. From a structural perspective, this is Act 2 of 3.
Yeah. Is this as long as part 2? Maybe. Depends how stuck you get.
Yeah, I'd say it probably is about the same length. The main puzzle chain of this part is really long. The structure of this part is basically you have this one big puzzle chain to get the diamond.
Yeah.
With a kind of branching puzzle to get the wedding band. Mm-hmm. And then getting the hand lotion is a shorter side puzzle that's separate.
Yeah, to get it off. Yeah. To get it off.
Yeah.
So the great thing about Curse is the plot is simple.
Yeah.
So we've discussed Escape and Tales at length recently.
Yeah.
And the plot is not so simple. This one is basically just Guybrush needs to get a diamond ring. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the motivation. Mm-hmm. And he knows where he has to go to get it. And, you know, we talk about not comparing everything to Star Wars, but that's the reason the original Star Wars is so good, holds together so well, is the plot is simple. You have to go and rescue Princess Leia. That's it, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
The only thing I'd accuse that of is being a little bit lazy in that it's kind of a damsel in distress kind of story. But it also writes Elaine out so you don't have to deal with Elaine and Guybrush's relationship.
Yeah, and it might be worth talking about that more in regards to part 1 and part 5, but this is basically Guybrush alone. And he even says, looks like I'm on my own again. After the crew mutinies against him at the beginning. A very nice, pleasant, friendly mutiny, but a mutiny nonetheless.
Not the first time that Guybrush has led a mutinous crew.
Yeah, and this really spells out what I was talking about when we were discussing part 2, The Curse Gets Worse. Guybrush does feel very much like he's on his own in Curse most of the time, I think. He doesn't have many consistent allies. There's no one who's with him in the same way that Wally or Captain Dread or even Kate Capsize, any of those characters are in Revenge, and no one who's even sort of with him for a whole part where he gets to interact with them or multiple parts like the secret crew.
No, that's right.
Or anything like that. Or even Herman or something who's kind of wandering around running into him multiple times.
He's very solo. And he's also ignored. He dies in the hotel and then comes back and people don't care. I mean, that's a gag, but also people don't care.
Yeah.
He's alone in the Caribbean. At one point, after interacting with the lost Welshman, he seems to be under the impression that the Lost Welshman is going to join him on the quest, and then the Lost Welshman goes to become the chef at Scab Island. Maybe we'll see that happen in return. Maybe we'll go to Scab Island and see the chef.
Maybe
eventually
we'll see
turn up
the Lost Welshman in the well-edited footage from Part 4 of Curse that I'm going to
maybe we will
put together to accompany this podcast.
Maybe the Lost Welshman will come back in Tales of Monkey Island, released in 2009. Keep an eye out for that.
In the form of a ferryman.
So Guybrush has to do 3 things. He has to get Elaine's ring off her finger. Simple. Yep. He has to find a wedding band. And he has to find a big uncursed diamond.
Yes.
So let's divided, like we said. His aren't. So Guybrush needs to get the wedding band from the aunt
Yeah.
of Griswold
Bartender.
Goodsoup.
Griswold Goodsoup. He's kind of the central non-player character of this part.
Yeah, he kind of gives you the most information about the island, right?
Yeah.
So the Griswold family resort is this kind of classic. It's like surrounded in tiki lights. There's a show they put on. I've stayed in places like this.
Yeah.
It's the family resort, but also haunted. There's the haunted room.
Yeah, this whole thing with the Goodsoup Hotel is one of the best parts of Curse. We talked about this in our top moments from Curse Escape and Tales podcast. Goodsoup himself, I think, is one of the best, if not possibly the best character in Curse, secondary character.
One of the most fleshed out.
We might have a separate discussion about that at some point. And I think just the idea, as I said in that episode, of this decrepit hotel on this island that no one goes to anymore is a really good setting for this sequence of the game. You know, Plunder Island felt very cozy and warm and welcoming, and this feels so sad.
Yes.
Blood Island. You feel like you're wandering around in the ruin of something that was once lively and full of energy, but now has just become completely subdued. It's I was thinking of the Overlook Hotel from The Shining.
Yes.
Replaying this and the kind of flashback / kind of hallucination sequences in that, where it's full of life and laughter and dancing and music, you know, and then what it's really like is it's empty and there's no one there.
And the guests are all gone. The whole part takes place at night. The kind of one of the centerpiece of the island is the hotel, which overlooks the cemetery.
Yeah.
Cemetery is 2 screens.
Yeah, and I think talking about the structure of the mood of Curse, you know, Curse starts at dawn. Part 2 and 3 are set during the day. Part 4 is set in the evening. Part 5 and 6 at night, and then the final cutscene is the dawn of the next day. And that the hotel on the hill, kind of a bit evocative of the Bates Motel from Psycho as well, overlooking the cemetery, is such a good image of this environment where you've got this character, Griswold Goodsoup, and this whole location that seems to be obsessed with death and looking backwards in the past and their legacy and all these things that they've lost.
Yeah, the Griswold family fortunes have run out. There's a ridiculous rivalry with the unseen Van Salad family. I think there's another family referenced as well.
But we hear about how they were driven out of the Caribbean by the Goodsoups.
Yes, and we also hear that the Goodsoups aren't actually as famous as Griswold likes to pretend. The chain of hotels never actually took off like he pretends.
Yeah, in some parts of the world, certainly.
Some parts of the world. He's also obsessed with his family breeding really, really old money.
Yeah. Excellent voice performance.
Terrific voice acting.
Well.
Yeah. Great character design. The hotel environment itself is flawless.
That warm lighting, the design just makes everything look a bit kind of seedy and old and like it's falling apart.
It's all a bit tired. There's an overfilled nacho machine, a broken nacho. But it's just a nacho. It's a modern nacho machine, you know, full of
gunked up
cheese.
nacho machine.
There's a back room with a frozen over fridge.
Yeah.
It's great. It's really great Monkey Island stuff. But then the upstairs, the rooms, there's a room of paintings. It's just kind of this abandoned room. The only hotel room we see is the
haunted room that
Yeah, Charles de
Goodsoup's had.
Goulash's room.
Goulash's.
Yeah. And both
Rest
the
in
window
the
there and the
time.
window in the corridor, again, both overlook the cemetery.
Yes,
as
yeah,
well.
the whole hotel does, right?
The other
we
thing
also-
that was worth mentioning, sorry, just quickly, is the music that plays upstairs and in the
yeah.
back room downstairs as well is so good, and I think is one of a lot of fans' favorite pieces from Curse
Yeah.
of Monkey Island. If you look
There's-
at comments on YouTube and stuff as well, where the steel drums come in and everything
It's the-
overlaid over the Goodsoup Hotel theme.
This haunting kind of steel drum sound. You know, it's very
Yeah.
warm. You could listen to it all day.
Yeah,
Madame Zima as well
yeah.
is featured. Their kind of classic gypsy. Can you say that anymore?
Yeah,
That's what she's.
don't
That's what
know
she's
about that.
supposed to be.
But yeah, that's the term they use. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
1997, of course. But yeah.
Fortune teller.
And another good thing that fits into that trope of the old hotel, that there's always that guest who is still there.
Yeah.
The one person who won't leave, sort of like the Major in Fawlty Towers,
I knew you were gonna say
that. Or Clip Springer in The Great Gatsby, the guy who never seems to go away even when the parties aren't happening.
Yeah. Yeah, always still there. Her story is not really explained, but it doesn't need to be. It's pretty obvious what she is. And
Yeah.
she gives you the 5 matching death cards.
Death cards, yeah.
How many are in the pack?
Is that a hard puzzle, do you think, that knowing that you have to get 5 tarot cards from her to trick King Andre later on? Do you think
Maybe. I'm trying to think back to...
it's hard to remember, yeah.
Hard to remember when I first played.
I feel like when we were playing it as kids, we just kept talking to her until she refused to keep talking to
I think
Guybrush
so, yeah.
and just took the cards. I feel like I remember that.
Yeah. It had been a little while since I'd played Curse. I don't know, a year. And I'd forgotten how to get, very briefly, I had a mind lapse about how to get the umbrella. And you had to get an umbrella.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
it's just ordering a drink with an umbrella in it.
It's the fourth option on the list, though.
Yeah, and I thought that might be actually a hard puzzle because you don't actually know that the umbrella is going to be the thing that lifts you up on the
Yeah.
windmill.
I was thinking that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you wouldn't necessarily think, because the hangover remedy works with any of the drinks that you order, as far as I'm aware.
Why would you order a different one?
Yeah, I think it's possible. I was reading that Guybrush can end up buried alive about 5 times if you
Okay.
order the wrong drinks and or don't have the life insurance policy taken out yet. I'm not sure, but yeah. I think we only ever had, when we were kids, we only did it the first time to end up in the municipal tomb, and then the second time in the Goodsoup crypt, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the cemetery then.
Cemetery is a little bit, I don't want to say derivative, but very evocative of the cemetery from Scab Island. There's the bats on the gate. The music is a remix of the Scab Island cemetery music.
Yeah.
But
If you were going to call something back, though, just calling back a setting like a cemetery, I'm fine with that.
yeah, and the cemetery is used in a different way. Like here, it evokes, this kind of past obsessed nature of the Goodsoups and of Griswold Goodsoup in particular. Whereas in Scab Island, it was far away and it was like a kind of funny pirate cemetery.
Yeah, well, the fact that it's an honour to be buried in a Goodsoup crypt. You know,
there's this very necropolitan
good word.
vibe to the whole thing, where of course the best thing of all as a Goodsoup is to get buried in the family crypt
And forever be a Goodsoup. The second screen of the cemetery is kind of outside Mort's workshop and house. Mort is the grave digger.
Yeah.
I like the fact that he's depicted as lazy. He's not gotten to stuff. He's messy. He's also obsessed with horror fiction.
Yeah.
pulpy stuff, including Moby Dick, which is a very real-world reference for Monkey Island.
Yeah.
Guybrush makes the observation that it'll never sell.
Yeah. There's a lot of optional dialogue and optional descriptions when you're looking through the gap in the crypt into Mort's room.
Yeah, and you've had that foreshadowing of Mort's room from part 2.
Yeah. I remember, as a kid being like, oh, this is just some cutaway gag. Like, who's this guy? He's clearly nobody. And then you actually meet him
Yeah.
so much later in the game.
Yeah, I think that's really great. I like that little thing.
Yeah.
You end up you convince Goodsoup that you're his long-lost cousin. What name do you pick?
I often pick split pea with ham.
I always go wonton.
They're all good. Hearty beef and potato is good as well.
Hearty beef and potato Goodsoup is a good name. Wonton reminds me of the character from Garth Marenghi's Dark Place. I'm sitting in to wonton.
Yeah, right.
So, one of the best bits of this game, one of the best bits of the series, in my opinion, is when you get buried in the Goodsoup family crypt. And you wander over to the left of the screen, and there's just a ghost bride floating there, just appears unexpected if you've not played it before. And she's really hauntingly haunting. She's and you can talk to her, and she's a Southern belle.
There's this sort of Gone with the Wind or Streetcar Named Desire sort of element.
I think so. There's a bit of more backstory for LeChuck, where LeChuck's come and convinced her to marry him.
Yeah, I think this is one thing that I could do without. I think the idea that it was LeChuck, just drop that.
Just make it
if I had my way, I would just get rid of it and not have LeChuck be involved. Yeah. Could be any pirate. Doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be LeChuck.
Well, it doesn't mean anything that it's LeChuck. And it could be, like, this is meant to be a place inhabited by pirates. It could just be any pirate.
Yeah, exactly.
Having LeChuck doesn't add anything. It just makes the world feel smaller.
Yeah, exactly.
Although, as I say, I really like this part.
Yeah.
Just Guybrush when he first sees the ghost, and he's like, yikes,
yeah.
Minnie is a friendly ghost and tells you that she can only leave the crypt or she can only move on
if she marries.
She marries someone for true love. I was thinking about the film. Which one? What was it called? Because there are two with a very similar name. Ghost Story, the one with the guy with the sheet over his head.
That was a ghost story.
Story. That was about a ghost who couldn't move on until it had sorted out its business.
Unfinished business.
Unfinished business. Yeah, and that's a very touching kind of thing to deal with in this kind of comedy romp adventure game, I think.
Yeah. The ghost here is very different too. The last time we really saw ghosts was in Secret. If we think about this series, and the ghosts in Secret are very different to Mini Goodsoup.
I think LeChuck's definitely more menacing in Secret, but the other ghosts are more goofy. Like Bob dancing around.
The ghosts feel like Halloween carnival monsters, whereas Mini Goodsoup feels like a different kind of character.
Yeah, she's a lost soul.
Yeah, exactly. A bit like the Lost Welshman, actually. It's not really clear who or what he is.
No, but I'm okay with that.
But that's the thing is, it adds to that feeling of strangeness that you get in Blood Island. But Mini Goodsoup, you do get her to marry by taking the crowbar from the tomb and releasing from his imprisonment in the locked room in the Goodsoup Hotel, Charles de Goulash.
I love you, Mini.
Yeah, probably. This was hilarious as a kid, if I recall correctly. This bit still cracks me up.
Is it the horror combined with the comedy that makes it, that amplifies the funny?
I think it's so you don't know what's going to happen, right?
No.
You hear this story about the locked room, you go up there and you find this corpse in the bed.
Creepy
Which
moment.
is, really quite spooky.
unnerving.
And then you launch him out through the hole in the wall, and suddenly he comes to life and cackles like a Halloween decoration.
Yeah.
Using his bed sheet like a parachute. Crashes
he-
through the roof, you know. And he's got that cheeky look on his face
Yeah, he's
the
great.
whole time as well, you know. It's like I was saying to you earlier, Charles de Goulash is also one of the best characters in Curse, and he's only really in one scene.
I think it's the acting that really
Yeah.
pulls it off, and the writing.
Yeah.
It's believable. And he's been
Yeah.
mentioned before.
Yeah,
There
he's
was
mentioned by Minnie and by Griswold as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think because he's got that. He is a bit like Rhett Butler in Gone with the Wind, you know, and
That's the influence. I think.
just
Yeah.
the
And it's
all
a nice
that
happy
over the top dialogue. You know, to heck with the scandal, Minnie.
Minnie.
Marry me.
And then they
I can't help it, you know.
and they move on together. That's their story
Yeah.
concludes.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a touching moment, and it's punctuated by the fact that they have this skeletal kiss and then disappear, and
Yeah.
there's a statue with this kind of horrified, surprised look
Yeah.
behind it.
Yeah.
It's a nice little moment, nice little
Yeah.
touch.
The conversation, between Minnie and Charles de Goulash is, one of my favourite moments in Curse. It's just so silly.
Yeah, but there's an element of pathos as well.
Yeah. It's nice as well. It's very sweet, but it's just
Yeah.
the way it's played is so funny as well.
You're right. So it really nails the humor Curse, especially in
Yeah.
parts like this. Like it's proper laugh out loud funny.
Yeah.
Speaking of funny characters in the tomb, this is the return of Murray.
Yeah.
And I always find that funny. How did he get there? It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
Ah.
I think this was a relatively late decision in development to have Murray reappear, and I think Danny Delk improvised a lot of his dialogue as well,
okay.
from what I understand.
Well, that's great dialogue. I still quote that daily.
Yeah.
I think I broke my
I
skull.
think I broke my skull.
Oh,
yeah.
no.
Yeah. I'm not doing that again.
Yeah. Murray helps you bust out of the tomb, and then when you leave the tomb, he's gone again. That's great.
Unless you're really quick and jump into Mutual of Stan,
Yes.
in which he
And he comes with
suggests
you.
putting himself on the neck of one of the dead bodies.
Yes. You can also try to return his arm to him. Guybrush says that's not a good idea.
Yeah. I don't think he'd have much use for it without his collarbone.
Two other little Easter eggs in the Goodsoup family crypt. You can reference the dig.
Yeah.
Guybrush says-
That's in Mutual of Stan, right?
The dig
Cobweb
reference.
on the corner, isn't it?
No,
You
that's
go in and out a bunch of times.
Oh, there's that one. There's that. That's the reference to the dig. There's a reference
Oh,
to
the
the dig.
cut off my hand one.
Cut
Yeah.
off-
Yeah.
Two references to the dig.
Yeah.
And there's the callback to Secret when you
Yeah.
pop your head up through.
If you look through the crack and come out in
Yeah.
the stump from Secret.
There's of course the other reference to Secret when it's 23
They're on
times
the
or something
beach.
you have to try to go in the ocean.
I really don't want to go in the ocean. Yeah.
Did you do it through the latest playthrough? Of course you did.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I always
Me
do.
too. Yeah. Guybrush from Secret's there drowning.
Yeah.
Check it out if you haven't done it.
I can put footage of that
Ah.
right now.
Of course.
Yeah, so we were talking about the cemetery, and we've talked about. I just want to say the Goodsoup crypt. I love that the one at the end that abuts Mort's shack inexplicably is broken open and has a crowbar sticking out of it.
Yeah.
It's like, what the hell's going on there? Well, it doesn't matter, but it's weird and creepy. I like it.
Grave rolling.
Yeah,
You kind of don't even think about it, but
Yeah,
it's gross.
and similarly, we should talk about. We've talked about it already, but Mutual of Stan. That
Great
crypt.
scene.
Yeah, another one of the best moments in the game.
Yeah. Creepy
really
and funny.
creepy, funny, really clever payoff for what happened to Stan in
Yes.
LeChuck's Revenge, but a great comedy payoff.
Absolutely. How did you get business cards printed up?
Yeah. Imagine
such a
if you
good
played
gag.
LeChuck's Revenge in 1991 and then you come to Curse in 97. I mean, for us, it had been like, I don't know, a couple of years or something. But
Yeah.
just being like, oh my God. You know,
Yeah.
it was
That's
just
perfect.
so, perfect.
Yeah. Also,
Boy,
Stan,
am I glad to be out of that thing.
Stan
Even though it
selling
was
life
a spacious,
insurance.
comfortable model with plenty of leg and headroom.
Room.
Yeah. Pat Penny's first performance as Stan nails it in
And
this initial performance, I think.
Stan selling life insurance is perfect.
Yeah.
It just makes sense.
Yeah.
And when he says, I want you to be careful out there. Don't worry, I will. No, I want you to be really careful.
Very, very careful.
Just rewinding a bit, the bit where you get locked in the coffin at first, in the municipal crypt, and then the credits start to roll.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Always
and
funny.
the idea that you only got a certain amount of points,
0 out of 800.
out of 800 points, is like, is that a dig at Sierra or at their own, like Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade and stuff like
I
that?
think it's a dig at Sierra. It's not the only dig at other adventure games
Yeah.
in this part.
Yeah.
Because there's the exchange with the Flying Welshman where he says, "Sure, Mist is pretty, but Egad is it dull."
Yeah.
Because Mist, as we all remember, was the biggest thing of the early 90s in terms of video games. And a lot of people rallied against that. The guys that developed Doom, Wolfenstein 3D, hated Mist, and that was those 3D shooters were almost a response to that.
Yeah.
To how boring they thought Mist was.
Yeah. A game with at the time a very lavish environment and some interesting puzzles, but not much else going for it.
I'm not anti-Mist.
Yeah, no, neither am I. But
If I went for something like that, the Journeyman Project, much more fun than Mist.
but that's a much more character and story-driven experience.
Exactly, that's why. Mist about characters.
Yeah.
And there are lots of good characters in this.
I believe, speaking of adventure game references, you can also make a loom reference to Mort, I believe. You can say that something about a third shadow being nigh or something like that, which is a reference to loom. I have to double check that, but I think it's
a good
correct.
reference. Very good. Very well observed. Let's talk about the Thieves.
Yeah, so once you've ripped off Stan for claiming life insurance money against your own life, you get the lost Welshman to take you to Skull Island to meet
Skull
up with
Island. Looks like a great big
pair
duck. It should be
of
called Duck Island.
murderous smugglers. King Andre and Croft.
Yes,
Oh, and
Lafoot.
a fat Lafoot, yeah.
Lafoot. I was saying to you earlier, I love Lafoot because Lafoot doesn't even have to be there. It could have just been a winch.
Just adds
but-
flavour.
Just another character. Why not?
Yeah.
Have
There's
another
a delivery man out here with a package.
yeah.
Great voice. It's like
Really
it's like a
great
sitcom voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm fairly sure. I mean, it'll be in the credits, but it sounds very similar to the Cabana Boy. I assume
Yeah,
it's
I'm
the same
pretty sure
guy.
it's the same actor, yeah.
Yeah, but different enough to be effective. Yeah, he's great. And like Guybrush. This is the thing with Guybrush's characterization in Curse is that if you don't open the umbrella and you crash,
Yeah.
when he leaves, I did this just before.
intentionally.
He goes and just pushes Lafoot off the edge.
Yeah, at the end, before you leave, he throws the foot off the cliff. Yeah.
Yeah. The island is great in the shape of a big duck.
Dark. Yeah.
or bunny.
Yeah.
That's a great gag as well. Curse
Yeah.
once again bringing the funny,
Yeah.
proper funny. The Smugglers, King Andre, deal me in Baldy.
Yeah.
Guybrush Stop laughing like that.
Yeah.
Guybrush is very cocky.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yet also intimidated.
Yeah.
They're great. I don't have much criticism of this part. It's good.
Yeah,
funny.
this bit's fun. There's a lot of, again, like Mort's Room, there's a lot of just flavour dialogue
Yeah.
and text in this sequence. You can talk to King Andre and Cruff. You can look
You
at
can look
all
around.
this junk
Yeah.
in their cave, the smuggle bunnies, the
Yep.
LeChuck toy
Yeah.
that has all this dialogue recorded for it and uses the
Yeah.
Monkey on 2 sprite.
Yeah, I love that.
I'll kill all your mother. Yeah. Just my favourite one, the LeChuck toy line is, just wait until you go to sleep, little boy.
When we were talking about before the puzzle, Madame Zima dealing out the cards,
Yeah.
maybe thinking about it once you get the cards and realise that you need a stronger hand, you need to win the card
Yeah.
game. Maybe that
Yeah.
would explain that you'd be able to figure out the puzzle from
Yeah,
that.
it's interesting to think about having to go back to
Back and then, get
Blood
back and
Island to get the
cards.
cards and then come back, to
Yeah,
Skull
well, that's
Island
what it was
again.
like figuring it out back in the day.
Yeah.
What I really like about this puzzle is that Guybrush doesn't actually end up winning. Well, he cheats and wins,
Yeah.
but he just steals the diamond anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
The thing of the lights going out and King Andre and Cruff beating each other up by accident, it's a classic cartoon moment, but it's very similar again to Guybrush and Wally escaping from the
Exactly.
death trap in LeChuck's Revenge. It's like, how did they escape? Well, the lights went out. You couldn't see what they were doing, so they escaped.
It doesn't matter, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, you can cheap out on animation that way as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really good. Okay, so you've got the diamond and the
Yep.
band. The last thing you have to do is get the ring off Elaine's finger.
Yeah.
To do that, you need to get the lotion from Haggis at the shipwreck.
And he'll only trade it for something that he can use in place of tar, because all the tar's gone, because Mr. Fossey and the monkeys used it all to tar and feather you back in part 2.
So this ties in with Goodsoup's kind of
Misfortunes.
misfortune. His story, his
Yeah.
little story within this part. Is it?
Yeah, no one
he's-
comes to the island anymore because the volcano stopped erupting, and that was the main attraction.
that he's become a drunk and he's depressed.
Yeah.
It's all that drinking.
Yeah, mind your own business.
So, one of the locations we haven't discussed is the Cannibal Village.
Yeah.
At the foot of...
Vegetarian cannibals
Yes.
are back from Secret.
Vegetarian cannibals are great, always welcome. Maybe it's because I look like a big lemon.
Big lemon, yeah. Lemonhead. Lemonhead is great.
Yeah. At the foot of Mount Acidophilus.
Yeah.
Great name for a volcano. And also the very Rocky and Bullwinkle-esque joke that the volcano god is called Sherman.
Sherman. Yeah. Yeah.
The lactose intolerant volcano god. And the reason it was so angry was because they were always chucking the wrong stuff in.
Yeah. And it turns out that, if they just fed it fruit and vegetables, it'd be nice and calm.
calms
But
down,
it turns out that the cannibals' gain is Griswold Goodsoup's loss. And
The characterization, or like the image of the cannibals is they're like the most savage, but they're actually the most organized and most business-like.
Yeah. Yeah, they've got community outreach to like other peoples around the Caribbean. They're expecting this guest of honor. They claim to have advanced facilities and stuff. There's a nice joke that their what looks like a witch doctor's hut is actually the supposedly advanced European style bloodletting clinic, which is one of the most notoriously ineffective pieces of bad European pseudoscience
Medicine,
in this era, dating back to the Middle Ages and beyond, that killed far more people than it ever helped.
I always thought it was hilarious that Guybrush needs to carve a face in a huge lump of tofu, and the noise when he puts it on his head, because he needs to disguise himself as the special guest that's coming to the sacrifice.
Yeah.
They sacrifice a big person made of vegetables, and then they all just whip out marshmallows. Start toasting them.
I do think with the guy with the pineapple on his head and the guy with the banana on his head, it does kind of miss the joke a little bit from Secret, where you had two guys with these scary masks on and one guy whose mask was just a big lemon, but it's still, it's still a really funny sequence. And Lemonhead's voice acting is great as well.
Yeah, he's great. Also, Lemonhead was kind of the one that spoke the least in Secret, and is now kind of the leader in this one.
Lemonhead is voiced by S. Scott Bullock, I believe.
Okay. Go on.
Who voiced Otis in Escape and the special editions.
Cola, make the Batman stop.
Secret.
Yeah, you have to throw the cheese into the caldera. This is where I learnt the word caldera. And that makes the volcano erupt again. And apparently, according to Goodsoup, the reservations have been flooding in.
Yeah.
And he's all happy again.
Yeah, I think it makes more sense, as we were discussing before, if this happens towards the end of the Blood Island sequence, because it gives Goodsoup a bit of closure. You can do it straight away, and he's like, oh no, the volcano's erupting again. And he's really happy straight away. It makes more sense if he spends most of the part feeling depressed and dejected.
Yeah.
I think Goodsoup, just to run back to him quickly, the fact that he starts off with a bad hangover and can't talk to you until you make him a hangover cure is a good bit of characterization. I like that.
Yeah, it's also a nice grown-up thing that I like in a game that's clearly going to be played by kids.
Yeah.
I didn't really know what a hangover was. I do now.
Yeah. Introduce the concept of hair of the dog.
I didn't know what that was either.
Yeah, didn't know what that expression was as kids.
No, but I'm glad that those things aren't shied away from.
Yeah. I think the recipe that Goodsoup prepares is... there's actually a real-world term for this, is something called a Prairie Oyster, which is
sexy.
various mixtures that usually involve a raw egg, hot sauce, and various other ingredients.
We should try it. We should try it live on the podcast.
Famous example is from the Jeeves stories by P.G. Woodhouse. In his one of his first appearances, Jeeves prepares such a concoction for Bertie Wooster that cures...
What convinces Bertie to hire him, is it not?
Yeah. Gentlemen have found this very refreshing or invigorating after a late evening or something like that. So and we of course know there's a Woodhouse Monkey Island connection because wood comes from Woodhouse. So, yeah, this idea of an egg and hot sauce and various other things being a hangover cure has a long history in folklore, I believe.
Okay. Well, talking about the chili, that takes us to the one location I don't think we've mentioned. No, there are two we haven't mentioned.
We haven't mentioned the lighthouse.
The lighthouse. Okay. So the windmill, you go there and you have to get up on the windmill using the umbrella.
Yeah.
And there's fermenting grog.
Yeah.
Home brew.
Yeah, sugar water
sitting on top. It's just a nice little scene. There's not much to say about it. Well realised.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you have a windmill? It's not clear what the windmill's for.
Maybe just for grinding up something that gets used on the island, but yeah. And of course there's the lighthouse, which you love.
Lighthouse. I do love the lighthouse. It's gorgeous. The sharks swimming in the bay.
The wind.
The sound of the wind. It takes me back. I think, is it on the back of the box?
It's in the manual.
The lighthouse replay. But there, just the view from the lighthouse down. I would have it framed on my wall.
Yeah, this is Bill Tiller's sweeping, curved background art at its apex. Here, with the perspective that you get with the lighthouse.
It's great.
Yeah. I wanted to mention we get a couple of check-ins with LeChuck.
Yeah, 2 cutscenes that you can watch very closely together if you get it right.
Yeah, if you don't have much trouble thinking they have them quite close together. But again, this is in the tradition of the first 2 games where we had cutaways to LeChuck and we were talking about there's always someone for LeChuck to talk to. In Secret, it was Bob. In Revenge, it's Largo. In this, it is Dinghy Dog. Maybe we'll talk about Dinghy Dog more when we talk about Part 5. Dinghy Dog, possibly one of the strangest characters in the entire Monkey Island franchise.
Yeah, Dinghy Dog is one of those characters. When I first came across him, I thought I'd turned over to.
Yeah, you feel like you've missed something, right? You're like, am I meant to know who this guy is?
Is this a character from LeChuck's Revenge or something? Oh, yeah. But he's a character who's his henchman and he works at an amusement park.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you have him in a mascot costume?
Yeah, he's like the Mickey Mouse of Big Whoop.
Yeah, I mean, this is the point. I was thinking about it just before. This series is getting sillier
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah.
There are silly things in the first 2 games, but this, as I said before, it's more absurd than farcical.
Yeah.
This is becoming more farcical, and the characterization of LeChuck is less menacing. He wants more coleslaw with his,
Fried
chicken
Yeah.
meal. Fried chicken referenced once again.
Yeah.
Clearly hilarious comedy food.
Yeah.
Dinghy Dog is a guy in a mascot costume and is silly. I like Dinghy Dog. But yeah, this is the series, especially these cutscenes, I think, is where it starts to get very silly.
Yeah. Is Dinghy Dog like a skeleton inside the costume, or is he like a living guy? I don't know.
I thought he was a living guy.
Yeah. There's a weird
Maybe
implication
skeleton.
that he's the one leading the search for Guybrush and Elaine as well, like in the costume. I don't know. But,
he's on Blood Island.
there's some great LeChuck dialogue here. Burn down every island in the Caribbean if you have to. You ossified rats.
Yeah. This is also the first appearance of the. It's the only appearance of the roller coaster.
Yeah, we actually see how the roller coaster of death works, here before actually riding on it in part 6. Yeah,
the track heading down into the lava and the pirates going in and coming out as
screaming as they go in, screaming as they come back out because they've just been transformed. Yeah,
as if they're still. And then he's recruiting them. Newest recruits in my army of the undead.
Yeah.
Production-wise, this Earl Bowen is very much on form.
Yeah, top form in these scenes again.
The sound on his voice, the effect on his voice, sounds great and demonic, and he's also funny.
Yeah.
I was talking about that before. Comparing it to the special editions, I was saying that things like in this crypt, Guybrush and Minnie sound like they're in a crypt. The sound effects and the dialogue is responsive to the surroundings. Whereas things like special edition, we were talking about things like Wally. He sounds like a radio presenter. It just sounds like audio, like you or I now.
Yeah, sounds like someone in a studio speaking to a microphone. Probably people who weren't all recording their dialogue at the same studio, maybe.
Not necessarily knowing what they were talking about.
Yeah, just given this sheet of paper with all these lines on it. Yeah.
But this feels like Disney Renaissance level cartoonery.
Yes. Yeah. And voice direction where the actors were all given really clear direction about what they were responding to, basically. In each scene.
This feels professional.
Yeah. I just wanted to say with LeChuck's desk and everything inside the monkey head here. And again, we'll probably talk about this more when we talk about part 5 and 6. Kind of a shame we don't get to go here later in the game. I do like, there's like the exit sign, there's a bridge leading over to like a green exit sign inside the monkey head and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It would have been, this is kind of, I like that we get this little glimpse of the roller coaster and LeChuck's desk and stuff in here. I kind of wish we got to see more of it.
Yeah, we could have had more going on.
I mean, I'm glad we do get us to see a bit of it. It feels a bit like maybe we were meant to see this a bit more later and it got cut for time. Notoriously, the last 2 parts were trimmed down heavily for for
Kind
timing.
of
but
reminds me
anyway.
of, you know, in the tunnel, is it the Tunnel of Love in Sam and Max? Where
Yeah.
you can get off
Yeah,
and then go into the mole man's room.
yeah.
Maybe if we could have had something like that. But I suppose we'll talk more about that when we talk about part 5 and 6.
Yes, because I actually, now that you mentioned it, we'll have to come back to this when we talk about it, but I actually think the roller coaster in part 6 of Curse owes a fair bit to the Tunnel of Love from Sam and Max Hit the Road, yeah, among other things.
We'll discuss that comparison then.
Yeah.
So that's part 4, really. I mean, we've blazed through it.
Yeah, it's probably my favourite part of the game.
Yeah, it's terrific. I mean, it's as good as part 2. I would say it's almost as good as anything from the first 2 games. This is probably my my favourite chunk of Monkey Island outside 1 and 2.
Yeah, I think this is the best part of Curse. I think it's up there. It's a bit different. There's a little bit of a different feeling to this than there is to the first 2 games, sure, but this is Curse.
Of course. Yeah.
This is Curse sort of finding its own feet, having its own style.
Yeah.
You really see that in parts 1 and 2 and 4.
Yeah.
Little bit less so in parts 5 and 6 and part 3, but yeah, this stuff is so atmospheric. You know,
Yes.
I always say about games,
Chockers.
like, for me, atmosphere is everything.
Absolutely.
If a game can get atmosphere right, it's like, that means that everything came together well.
Yeah.
And so atmospheric. It's funny, but it's eerie. It has that, you know, I've talked about Curse. It doesn't have that kind of hollow, uncanny kind of vibe that Revenge does, but it has its own kind of spooky.
Yeah, it's probably more of, as you say, more of a Halloween-y
kind of
feel.
vibe that you get
Yeah.
in this game with the cemetery, the hotel.
Probably more of a real world.
Yeah,
rather than the LeChuck's Revenge kind of peeping behind the curtain.
Yeah, it's a bit. The hotel with the cemetery behind it, I think, is also, though, a bit like the Haunted Mansion in Disneyland, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's got that kind of slightly southern, you know. What am I thinking of? Like, it's got this New Orleans kind.
New Orleans
is what I meant.
Right.
So this sort of slight New Orleans, southern, you know, USA, or like, yeah. Can't
I
believe
think so,
I couldn't
but also
remember that, but yeah.
Kind of a bit of a Hawaii at night kind of thing.
Yeah, with all the tiki stuff as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that idea of like the resort no one goes to anymore. That you know, everyone's been to like a place like that.
Yeah.
On holiday, like the crap old hotel that once upon a time was fancy. No one visits anymore. Down on their luck. The only staff are people who've been there forever and all that kind of thing. Yeah.
I'm thinking of a very specific hotel I stayed in New Zealand that I feel like was the Goodsoup Hotel.
I just wanted to point out as well a couple of things. The fridge magnet is a Big Whoop fridge magnet, and there are brochures for Big Whoop. Come to Big Whoop for an eternity of pain and torment. I mean fun and laughter.
Yeah.
If you have a sturdy bone structure and a high tolerance for pain, but I think one of them's crossed out and replaced with thirst for adventure. There are no maps or directions or anything. It just says it's a whole lot of fun. A bit like the Dinghy Dog doll in part 2.
Yeah.
LeChuck's trying to get people to come to Monkey Island without too much information about what's actually going on there, and I like those little bits of foreshadowing of where we're going with this, which we see with the cutaways and stuff as well.
Monkey Island itself has changed from being this mysterious location to clearly somewhere where everyone's been and everyone knows how to get there.
Yeah.
That's a big difference.
But I do think this idea of the resort does tie in. It's like Plunder Island and Blood Island and the Carnival do tie together quite well. There's this sense of like Plunder Island's the retirement town, Blood Island's the hotel island.
Yeah, it's all holiday.
You know,
making.
it's about going on holiday and relaxing and stuff, but with this sinister undertone
Yeah, all
throughout the
that.
whole thing.
Yeah, behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Everything's a little bit eroded.
Yes. Yeah.
There's the devil chicken.
Yeah, and the ghosts
Soup.
haunting Blood Island and the
Yeah.
smugglers and everything.
The evil amusement park, which we will talk about
When we get
later.
to it. Yeah.
So that's part 4 of Curse.
Yeah. Great
We
part.
can revisit this later if we feel the need to. But yeah, chockers full of atmosphere.
Yeah.
Music's great.
Great
jokes are
characters.
great,
Great,
eerie,
great
spooky.
reprise of Stan. Good
Yeah.
puzzles.
I
Nothing.
can't really fault it. I don't.
Yeah.
This is the thing. I'm just gonna gush over it.
Yeah, it's like nothing I really think like particularly that I particularly take an issue with. A couple of minor things as we've mentioned, but really, yeah, this is top-notch stuff.
Yeah.
From a gameplay perspective and also from an art
Yeah.
and writing
Yeah.
and music perspective as well.
Story perspective.
Performance perspective, yeah.
Yeah, possibly like it's slightly different in tone to the first 2 games, but this is its own thing. So
Yeah.
I forgive it any problems. I suppose.
And it's not worlds away from stuff
No,
in
no,
Revenge
that's right.
at all.
That's right. This is as close as you get. As close as you're gonna get.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, shall we
Cool.
spin the Madly Rotating Buccaneer once again?
Let's do it. All right, so if you've listened to this before, you know that instead of stepping through week by week in order, we do this randomly generated part selector using a big wheel I have in my house.
Yeah.
It's installed on the wall. The wall's a bit cracked behind it. Because we're members of the Gamblers Club,
Yeah.
we get to have a second spin if we really don't want to play the part that comes up. So in the next week, we'll play whatever part comes up unless we decide to spin again. Maybe we'll spin again this week just so that becomes relevant. We have done that once before.
Well, let's see what we get.
Yeah, lock in your bets.
Again, it's like we've guessed a lot of parts so
We
far.
can re-guess.
Yeah, but I'd like to do something we haven't guessed before. I'm gonna say, let's say, Chapter 1 launch of the Screaming Narwhal.
I'm going to say, I mean, I kind of want it to be something from Secret,
Yeah, me too.
but okay. Therefore, I'm going to say Under Monkey Island.
Okay.
All right, you ready?
Yep.
All right, you give it a spin.
What is it?
Oh, you're not going to be happy. What's the one you least want it to be?
What, the Siege of Spinnaker?
It's the Siege of Spinnaker.
Let's spin it again because
spin
we've
it
done
again, yeah.
we've done 2 parts of where Tails is overrepresented.
I think so far.
So
we will get to
far.
the Siege of Spinnaker.
Yeah.
Just so you know, I think the Siege of Spinnaker is our least favourite part.
Yeah, of any Monkey Island.
Yeah, anyway. All right. I'm going to give it a spin this time.
Yeah.
Enter the Manatee.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? We're never going to get first 2 games.
Well, it's just the more that we get through the later games, the closer we get to.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm alright with Enter the Manatee.
We're kind of
I
riding.
am a Monkey Island fan.
Yeah, we are kind of riding around Curse Escape on Tails. I do like Enter the Manatee.
Yeah, so do I.
For the name of the act alone, I like Enter the Manatee.
So let's revisit Escape.
Alright.
Fire up residual VM. Alright, well, are you done?
Yeah.
Alright, thank you for listening to Rubber Chicken with a podcast in the middle. The only Monkey Island podcast, I reckon, on the internet.
Yeah.
As ever, I've been Gordon, and you are...
Alistair Head.
And...
Look behind you! A 3-headed monkey!